Okay, welcome to the Orangeburg Touchdown Club. I don't know what happened to our president, Mr. Rob Hibbets. He probably had to go out and write some insurance. But we have today Tony Elliott, the offensive coordinator for Clemson. We'll also hear from our own coach, Coach Oliver Buddy Pugh. So we're happy to have all of you join in. And thank you, Charles, for your expert technical skills. But Buddy, you and Rob, I forgot to tell you, I played golf yesterday.
Did you?
I was 3 over. Yeah, I played golf. I was 3 over. 1 over the swimming pool, 1 over the house, and 1 over the patio. But anyway, that's what happens when you play golf. Now Tony Elliott, I hope Tony that you're on, because Buddy is going to introduce you in a little bit. But Tony, you know, Buddy and I feel sorry for you. We really feel sorry for you with subpar athletes that you have to work with up there at Clemson. We really feel sorry for you, Buddy.
Appreciate that. Just keep playing for me.
Okay, well, I'm back in.
Anyway, boy, we're happy. Yeah, we've already started. Keep quiet a minute. Keep quiet a minute, Mr. President. I have Tony Elliott on, and I'm going to switch it over for a moment to Rob Hibbets, our president, and then I will be coming back on. Take it away, Rob.
Thank you so much, Coach. I'm sorry for my computer problems, but welcome everybody. We have a very special guest with us today. It's one of our Touchdown Club partners, the Regional Medical Center, who awards the Brent Lukens Scholarship every year. And we have Margaret Frierson, who's the Executive Director of the RMC Foundation, and I'd like to switch over to her to make the scholarship presentations. Margaret?
Thank you, Rob. Thanks everybody for having us. Exciting day for us here at the Regional Medical Center Foundation. Back in 2002, Brent Lukens, who was a sophomore at the time, was an athlete at Orangeburg Preparatory School, died tragically in a car accident. And at the time, the Regional Medical Center Foundation decided to create a $1,000 annual scholarship in Brent's memory to promote and recognize achievements both academically and athletically to area high school seniors. This year, we are pleased to announce that the Touchdown Club has joined the foundation and has also decided to provide a second scholarship. Now, this year was a challenge. We're in the middle of COVID-19, and when we sent the applications out to public and independent schools across Bamberg, Calhoun, and Orangeburg counties, as it turned out, these applications went out the Friday before schools were forced to shut down. The application process is pretty rigorous. It includes an essay written by the applicant explaining how athletics will benefit them in meeting future educational and career goals. This year, again, we had to extend the application deadline and had to recontact schools in order to get participation. And actually, the committee was pleased that we got more applicants than anticipated. This made it very challenging for the judges to make their decision. It is my honor today to announce that our recipients for the 2020 Brent Lukens scholarships are Ashanti Elliott of Lake Marion High School and Bates Felder Jr. from Calhoun Academy. Both of these individuals are joined with us on this Zoom call, and we will introduce them in a minute. But let me take a moment to share with you some of their achievements. Ashanti Elliott was the valedictorian of her class at Lake Marion High School. She was student body president and treasurer of the National Honor Society. She was the treasurer of her school's chapter of the Future Business Leaders of America and placed first in the state's broadcast journalism competition. Ashanti played soccer for 2 years, was a cheerleader for 4 years. She was Miss Lake Marion High School her senior year. She provided volunteer services in her community nursing facilities. She is the daughter of Sheila Kitt and Clarence Elliott. Ashanti is attending Clemson University and is majoring in finance. Bates Felder Jr. was valedictorian of his class at Calhoun Academy. He was student body president. He was a member of his school's football, basketball, and baseball teams. He served as captain in all three sports. He was selected All-Region in baseball in 2019. Bates received the Bill Simpson Award presented by the South Carolina Independent Schools Association for academics, athletic, and leadership excellence. He attended Palmetto Boyd State. Bates was the co-editor of the yearbook as a junior. He is the son of Bates and Clancy Felder. He is attending the University of South Carolina and is majoring in biological sciences. Congratulations to these excellent young people.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all y'all again.
Okay.
Yeah, I really appreciate the scholarship and thank you for being considering me. It's very nice of y'all, so thank you.
We do not have Ashanti on the call right now, but we will put a post in her honor.
Well, I'd like to congratulate Ashanti and Bates one more time. If you've ever been on a scholarship committee, the applications that we get are beyond compare, and everyone that applies usually is qualified for it. And these two shone above the rest, and we want to congratulate them and wish them the best success in the future. And we'll be counting on them coming back to the Orangeburg area and working and with us. So now, without further ado, I'd like to turn it back over to Hall of Fame coach Willie Jeffries.
Thank you, Rob. Bates, you and Ashanti, congratulations. Bates, I want you to know I was salutatorian of my class up in Union, South Carolina. I played 3 sports, just like Coach Buddy Pugh. I played 3 sports: football, basketball, and hooky. And but I made it through school. But you all are excellent recipients, and thank you, Ms. Friesen and the Regional Medical Center. Now, we have Chris Clark coming up. He is the sports editor of our own Times and Democrat newspaper, and he's going to give us the players of the week. And let's welcome Chris Clark, editor, sports editor of our Times and Democrat. Chris, take it away.
Thanks, Coach. Yes, this is the weekend we finally get our South Carolina High School League teams playing, get our game started, and it seems like it's been a 2-year wait, but it's been many months of waiting, and they had a shortened preseason, but they're ready to go. We actually have one of our T&D region teams, the Edisto Cougars. They get things kicked off tonight. They play at Barnwell tonight at 7 o'clock, so it gets going tonight, and everybody else tries to get going tomorrow. So our South Carolina Independent School Association teams, they continue to play after their first month of the season. And we actually have 2 T&D region teams who are still unbeaten, including Andrew Jackson Academy and Holly Hill Academy. So they're continuing to go, and our high school league teams are getting started. So Orangeburg Prep took its first loss of the season at home this past week against Hilton Head Christian, and the Indians have a bye week this week, so they get back to play next week. But we look forward to all the new region matchups across the high school league. Our area, almost everybody changed regions or had their region impacted somehow. So it's going to be some interesting games starting tonight and tomorrow night. Orangeburg Wilkinson will open up at home against Gilbert tomorrow night. Bamberg Earhart plays at Estill, and Calhoun County plays at Williston Elko. So we've got some really good matchups for the first week of the high school league season. Now we'll recognize our players of the week from week 4 of SCISA play. Our offensive player of the week first. Senior tailback and fullback Zach Poloni led Holly Hill Academy with 17 carries for 288 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns in Friday's 68-20 home region win against Patrick Henry Academy. Poloni added 4 tackles and a fumble recovery on defense. Our ATI physical therapy offensive player of the week is Holly Hill Academy for Holly Hill Academy and head coach Michael Nelson, is senior running back Zach Poloni. Now for our defensive player of the week. Senior linebacker Noah Byron led Dorchester Academy with 15 tackles, including 3 tackles for a loss, in Friday's 37-0 home region shutout win against Colleton Prep. It was the first win of the season for the Raiders, and they're looking to capitalize on that and build on it. Our ATI Physical Therapy Defensive Player of the Week for Dorchester Academy and head coach Thomas McElhaney is senior linebacker Noah Byron. And we have rain and thunderstorms in the forecast for tomorrow, and I know a few schools are looking at possibly moving the games to Saturday just so they can get them in, but so far nobody's moved the games around here. And we know one thing's for sure, Bethune-Bowman has a bye first week, so they'll open without a loss. They'll be undefeated going into week 2. So we just hope everyone else who has a game scheduled this week gets to kick off and get going. And I'll turn it back over to you, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Noah, they said Noah tackled a water boy also after he tackled a running back, then went and tackled a water boy. He'll get you if you're on that football field. Thank you, Chris. Great presentation. Now we're going to turn it over to Coach Pugh. He's going to talk about a little bit about the Bulldogs, and he's going to introduce our illustrious speaker for today. I'll let Tony Elliott know that, Tony, I wouldn't pass. Buddy will throw a pass every now and then. I wouldn't pass on I-26, but after I learned the passing game, we started passing a little bit. So, and I'm so happy to see that the backup quarterback you all put in. I can't pronounce his name. That's one of those big words, but boy, he did a splendid job. So we're still sorry about the caliber of athletes you have to coach, buddy, but you'll make it through the season. Now, let's call to the podium, our own coach, Coach Oliver Buddy Pugh.
Thank you, Coach. It's a pleasure to be here again with the Touchdown Club. Coach Elliott, we're excited to have you. Our team came in last Friday, and we've got about 80 guys there. We had all of our guys tested, and that went pretty good. Most of those guys, had been tested before they got here, but we tested them again after they got here, and all of them came up negative. So that was a good start. So we were lifting yesterday. We lifted a little bit yesterday, and this morning we had our first big run. And you could tell some of those guys hadn't run in a while. It's been since March since they had anybody actually watching them, before they started to take that long break, that long sabbatical that we had. But, they got out and ran a little bit this morning, and we're going to go about 3.5 weeks more of that, and then we're going to start a spring practicing kind of affair. We're going to have about 15 practices between the 19th of October going into about the middle of November. At that point, then we'll get ready to start our season this coming January when we open up at home on the 20th of February against Florida A&M. I'm going to cut this short because we run a little bit late, and I want Coach Elliott to get on so he can actually have a chance to say, his piece that way. I'm excited about having him. Everybody knows Tony's the assistant coach at Clemson. He's an offense coordinator. He's a running backs coach. He's the 2017 Frank Broyles winner, which is the award for the top assistant coach in the country. He's been a big impact guy for everything they've done in all those championships they won up there. They won 6 or 7 ACC championships and 2 national championships and played for 2 more championships and did all other kinds of stuff too. He got started coaching though, and that's what we're really proud of. His first coaching job was down here with the Bulldogs back down about so many odd years ago. Heck, I don't know how long ago. I had Tony and Billy Napier on that staff. You've seen Billy Napier around the last couple of weeks at Louisiana University. It used to be Lafayette, but they call themselves Louisiana University now. And they're one of the top 25 teams in the country also. They beat up on Kansas or somebody out there, Iowa State, a couple of weeks back out there in Iowa in one of those kind of play for pay games. Well, let me tell you what, when you play them guys to pay, when you pay those guys to play, you know, you might get something else too. But you know, these guys have done a fantastic job of you know, of building that program at Clemson. I think everybody kind of knows what they are. He and his wife Tamika, HKT people used to work at that little family health center right there across from HKT High School. You know, back when he was coaching here, and you know, and had a wonderful time. We had an enjoyable time. They've got 2 little boys now. It won't be long before Tony will be like Coach Venables. He'll have 2 boys running around Clemson playing, just like the rest of those guys do. But you know, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen of the Orangeburg Touchdown Club, I bring to you Coach Tony Elliott.
Coach Pugh, I appreciate it. Again, to all those associated with the Orangeburg Touchdown Club, I really appreciate the opportunity. Extremely humbling for me. I think we're living in a time where you always we're forced to reflect and kind of see where we came from, kind of get a vision of where we're growing. So it's good to see that red and blue and be reminded that even though people say nice things about me, and I'm very fortunate to be at Clemson, but it wouldn't be possible without Coach Pugh taking a chance on a football coach that was unproven. I was an engineer, no experience, and I guess Coach Pugh has a great knack for identifying talent, and he gave me an opportunity. So I really appreciate that. To you, Coach Jeffries, always appreciate the opportunity to get a laugh. But really want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you. I want to say thank you to Coach Pugh. You know, we're living in an era, as I said before, there's a lot going on in society. We've been through a very, very difficult time in our country on a lot of fronts. When you're talking about COVID, you're talking about racial injustice, and then that really puts a spotlight on our profession. And for me to sit here at Clemson as the offensive coordinator, to have a chance to even be considered for a Broyles Award wouldn't be possible without the perseverance that you guys have put in, just your work every single day in this profession to create an opportunity for a young man like myself to carry it forward. So I really, really appreciate the example that you guys have set, you know, on the field and off the field, and just the passion that you guys have for young people. You know, that's what I really learned being down there with Coach Pugh. Now he's gonna coach you hard now. There were several days where he got on my butt because my inexperience showed, but what I learned was how to love you young men, how to love the players, to make sure that it's always about the young men. So we can oftentimes get caught up in this profession about our successes as coaches, but at the end of the day, if the young people weren't playing the game, we wouldn't be called coach. So I appreciate just your mentorship, your leadership, and an opportunity that you've created for me. To the award winners, that's so awesome to see. Both the scholarship award winners and the players of the game definitely need to focus on that more in today's society. I think with everything that's going on in the media, all we focus on is the negative, but there's a whole lot of positive that's really, really taking place. And so congrats to the scholarship winners. I got me a new cousin. The young lady with the last name Elliott, she's up here at Clemson, so we'll be play cousins. Bates, I was also a 3-sport athlete. Again, I did actually play 3 sports. One of them wasn't hooky like Coach Jeffries right there. I did play 3 sports: football, basketball, and baseball. I know that's gonna come back to bite me, Coach Jeffries. I know you got something for me later, but I had to take that opportunity. But Bates, again, congratulations on your award, and even though you're on the other side, still rooting for you, buddy. Appreciate all your hard work and getting to the place that you're at. Just a little update on what we're doing up here at Clemson on the season. Obviously, with everything going on in the pandemic, our games are displayed on TV, so you get a chance to kind of see us playing. It's been different, you know, playing up at Wake Forest. There was no fans. They only allowed 50 fans in the stands, and they kind of had to force the hand up there just so that the senior parents could have an opportunity. So that's a little bit different, you know, kind of sucks for those guys that this is their last go around and they may not have family members. But again, Wake Forest did a great job of creating a positive environment for us to play in. And so once the ball kicked off, you really didn't realize that there weren't any fans in the stands. And then we were fortunate enough to come home last week and play the Citadel. And right now we're running at about 19,000 fans is our capacity right now, hoping that as we go throughout the course of the season, if things improve with the COVID going on, that we'll be able to have more. But it was as close to normal as you could expect. I thought our game day operations folks did an outstanding job of creating and trying to recreate the home field atmosphere and advantage that we have here in Death Valley. So that was a lot of fun. But you know, for us offensively, those bad players that Coach Jeffries is talking about. Actually, I do need some prayer, because if any of those who follow Clemson know that we're really, really young on the offensive line. They're all very, very talented, but but they're inexperienced. So you can see right there, I'm catching you, Coach Pugh, dealing with that second team offensive line right now. I'm trying to get those guys going, but no, it's been fun. Really proud of this unit, going all the way back to when we stopped spring ball. We were very fortunate last spring that we had 9 practices in when the COVID hit and shut everything down. So we got 9 practices in. We had probably about 15 mid-years that were already on campus, so that was very positive. But it sent us into a space that none of us were familiar with. And if you know anything about our program is very, very structured. Coach Sweeney is one of the most detailed individuals that I've ever been around, and everything is structured. We got everything mapped out. And then you go into this kind of cyberspace where the young men are home. You're limited from an NCAA contact standpoint. You're trying to have as many meetings as you can, but everybody's getting burnt out with school online, with football online. But our guys did a really, really good job. Our strength staff was very, very creative in the off season with the videos that they were sending out. Again, probably about 65% of our team at that time had access to a facility, but the other guys, they didn't. So we had to make up workouts for them to stay in shape. And when they did transition back on June 1st, you could tell that those guys had put in the work. So we did have a couple guys, Coach Pugh, that first run that looked like they took the time off, but the good majority of our guys really, really worked during that time. Now, when we came back, we actually came back in good shape after we initially tested, but then being on campus and kind of moving around, happy to see each other, getting back, acclimated to the community, we did get hit with a couple of COVID tests, and so we kind of pushed through that. But since that time in the summer, our guys have done a really, really good job. And again, we're getting tested 3 times a week. We do it twice a week in-house, and then every Friday before we play, the ACC sends out a mobile unit to come test us to make sure that we're adhering to the rules and that we're not putting anybody at jeopardy. But so from that standpoint, we're working around it. It's changed a little bit of the intimacy within the program in terms of meetings because of the space. You got to space everything out. You always got to wear your mask. So again, we're trying to work through that, but again, our guys have done a good job. In terms of the players, I think everybody knows Trevor Lawrence, and the official way to say it is DJ Uiagalelei. We just call him DJ. So we don't try to say that Uiagalelei every time we address him. So he's just known as DJ. And then we got a Tyson Pumachan. So you can imagine Coach Streeter in his quarterback room. It's Trevor Lawrence, and then the other two. It's like DJ.
That's why I couldn't coach that position. I can't.
But no, they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal guys. And we're very fortunate to be able to attract some of the most talented guys in the country, especially at the quarterback position. But the special thing about all 3 of those guys are just awesome human beings. They love to compete. They understand exactly where they are in terms of their development process. And they really, really feed off of each other. And that's why you can see guys coming in as freshmen being able to get the playbook as quick as they do, because they got a Trevor Lawrence who's leading the way on the field, but he's also leading the way in the meeting room and off the field. So really, really pleased with where we are at quarterback, running back. Coach, I need some help on this, because I know you coach running backs. I got about 7 of them. And obviously we got Travis back, and trying to find enough touches for all those guys, man. That's what keeps me up. So pray for me on that.
That's a good problem.
It's a good problem.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's really interesting too, because normally in the past, what you would do with that much depth is you would take guys and you'd see which ones maybe need a year of development. You'd redshirt those guys. But in this environment, you don't know who's up, who's down each week. It's kind of like an NFL, Ross. Like you get your test on Friday, you don't know until Saturday morning who's playing, so everybody's live, and then somebody may say, okay, we'll count your reps once we get into the game. And the new redshirt year, I think, the redshirt rule has been positive, really, really positive. Guys can play the entire season without losing that year of eligibility. So right now, it hurts us from a scout team standpoint, because I'm not sending any of the 7 to the scout team, but repping them at the same time, but they'll get that year back. So that's positive. So really, really pleased with the depth that I have there. Really, really looking for, Jay to have a breakout season behind Travis, and then use the rest of the season to really, really get those young guys some experience. Offensive line, I feel like our offensive line is probably, as a unit, the first 5, probably the best 5 combination of 5 guys that we've had. Really, really, started the season well up at Wake Forest, really, really physical. Led by Jackson and Bockhorst on the left side. Cade Stewart is a guy that's first-year starter at center, but he's played a lot of football. He's a 5th-year senior. He's really, really, embraced his opportunity to lead in the center of that offensive line. Will Putnam is a redshirt freshman guy that Well, I guess you can say he's a sophomore because we didn't redshirt him. I guess I don't know what to call him now because they all got about 7 years left to play with this new redshirt rule. But he's a guy, the youngest guy up there, but he's done a really, really good job of getting acclimated. And then Jordan Mcfadden there on the at right tackle probably doesn't say much, but he's a dog. He's a kid from Dorman High School. That's kind of been waiting his turn. He waited for Tremaine Ankrum to transition. So that first 5 on the offensive line, we feel really, really good about. And then we got some of the young guys that we feel like we could put in there. There's some guys like a Walker Parks and maybe a Mitchell Mays, some of your younger, freshman tackles that we could get in the game. It's just getting those guys up to the place where we can wholesale sub and put all 5 offensive linemen in the game like we used to do in the past. We try to have 10 to 12 of those guys ready to roll. And just right now with where we are from an experience standpoint, talented, we've got some talented young guys. They haven't played. So that's probably the biggest area of opportunity of growth. And that's what we're trying to focus on this open date is get a head start on Virginia. We play Virginia coming out of the open date. And with, the way things are, it's unfortunate for Virginia. Their first 2 games have been canceled. Right. And they were supposed to have an open week this week, and now they had to pull the Duke game. So the first time we get to see Virginia is 3 weeks into the season. And so that's kind of some of the unknown that we're facing as we go forward in the season. You saw where Notre Dame and Notre Dame and who were they supposed to play?
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest. That's right. Notre Dame and Wake Forest. They had to cancel COVID test. So the biggest thing for us is try to use every game and every opportunity to build depth, but then also, making sure that we have our guys that we're counting on ready to go each and every week. Now you look at the wideouts. I think in the past, you usually go into the season with probably 2 or 3 household names, at the receiver position. We believe we have those guys. They just haven't become household names yet. Starting into the boundary, you got Joe Ngata. He looks just like all the guys we've had in the past in the boundary, big, strong guy, about 6'4", can run like a deer. He was playing behind a T. Higgins. So now it's his time to shine. Then you got Frank Latson out there to the field, is another speedster from Florida that's about 6'3", 6'3.5". Those guys are starting to come into their own. You saw Frank Latson have a good game last week. And then we got some steady senior guys, and Cornell Powell's a 5th-year senior guy that's really, really sees his opportunity. He's doing well for us. Amari Rogers is coming off of the knee. He was injured last year, kind of played coming off of an ACL, but with this offseason, he's really, really worked hard. And then, you got a couple of other guys. Balen Spector's a guy that's was a redshirt freshman for us that we feel really good about at wideout. And I think the biggest area of excitement for us is the tight end position. Because when we've been at our best offensively is when we've had that dynamic tight end that could be a matchup problem in the slot and 11 personnel, but then also physical enough to give you your 2-back run game when you motion them in the box. And with Braden Galloway coming back off of a year of suspension with the substance, the illegal substance that we still can't figure out how it got there or have answers for, but we got him back. And then you got Davis Allen is a year older. Unfortunately, we lost Luke Price to an ACL here early in camp. And then you also got Jalen Lay, and then we got Sage Ennis. So we feel really, really good about that position. We just got to continue to get them back incorporated in the offense. But this group right here, the leadership of this year's team has been phenomenal. And you've seen some of the things that they've done off the field. Initially, when all of the social unrest started taking place, they organized a peaceful march here in town. They've also, done some other things, have some shirts made. They actually, during the first quarter, if you watched our game, if you were able to see it, I don't know if they aired it on the TV version, but one of the things our team wanted to do is at the end of the first quarter, every game, they want to lock up, single file, arm in arm, and just show their appreciation and their unity together. So really, really proud of the leadership that this year's team has really taken both on the field, but more importantly, more off the field. And I would just say too that for you, Coach Pugh, man, looking forward to getting to see you guys play. I think one of the things that gets overlooked that we're learning and continuing to work through is just some of the unintended consequences of not playing the game. I think that we're seeing that football is necessary for the standpoint of mental health for these young people. I think any of us that are involved in college athletics know that one of the biggest issues that you face on a college campus is mental health issues and lack of sleep. And these guys are so used to having a structured environment, being together, and by not having an opportunity to play, we were close to, if you go back, it was very touchy right there. When they had that vote, we were fearful that we were going to get shut down, but proud of the ACC for stepping up and kind of leading the charge and having a plan and sticking to that plan and not being influenced, giving us an opportunity to play. But because of some issues that aroused, and I'm not going to go into detail, but just not major issues, but just, guys, not being in a structured environment and going back home and not having that structure, I think is very, very necessary for us to play and to have that structure for these young people, and then giving them an opportunity to use their platform to bring about positive change. So I'm excited that you got 80 guys back on campus starting your workouts, and I'm looking forward to now every year you say it's your last season, all right, but I know you got about 5 or 6 more, all right, and actually it's been 13 years since I was down there. Can you believe that? 13 years since I was wearing the red and blue. But what a blessing. But with that, I'm gonna shut up because I know I kind of am going over my time, but I did want to open it up for any questions. I know there's people watching on Facebook Live. I know you got some people, on the panel with the Zoom call. If anybody has any questions, I'm here to answer a couple questions for you.
Coach, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
This should be no surprise to you, but myself and none of my friends can pronounce the name of your second string quarterback, number 5. So we call him Ukulele.
Ukulele, I've heard that.
But one thing that I'm always amazed about is the talent that you have on hand. And if I'm a talented player, then I think I should be playing.
Correct.
So how in the world, it looks like to me the camaraderie is amazing. How do you keep everybody in perspective and get them the playing time that they need?
It starts in the recruiting process, making sure that you're not just looking and getting enamored with the talent, but making sure that the character and what we call the Clemson fit is there, and being very truthful and transparent in the recruiting process, not promising anything, letting them know that there's no entitlement within the program and everything is earned. And then I think Coach Sweeney does the best job of any head coach in the country of making sure that what playing time those guys earn, that they get that playing time. That the coaches to make sure that those guys play. So let's say you're coming out of a battle at the running back position. Let's say I got 2 talented guys and one is deserving of 60% of the snaps and the other 40, then he's holding me accountable to make sure that I get the 60-40 balance, when feasible. So starting with identifying the right character, the right fit, they understand what the program's about. They understand that they're not going to be promised anything, that everything is earned on our practice field. And then once we get to game situations, we make sure we hold up our end of the bargain by whatever they come out of fall camp in terms of their coach says, hey, you're entitled to these, not entitled, but you've earned this amount of playing time. Then we do our best job to make sure that they get that playing time.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, I've got a question for you.
Tony, we know. Oh, he took it over.
First, I want to thank you for being able to have bragging rights for the better part of a decade. But a lot of things that we hear from our South Carolina brethren is that we play in an uncompetitive league, which is unfair, but I think has a little bit of merit to it. What is kind of your prognosis of the ACC as a conference moving forward in, the next 2, 3, 4 years as far as other teams becoming more competitive?
Right. I think that a lot of what you're getting is an agenda and a narrative that's pushed by, different places. We understand that the only reason that we win in the postseason is because of what we play against all season long. And if you look at it, and I heard a stat that I think by any conference, the most starting quarterbacks in the NFL, the ACC had 8, which was almost double everybody else. So just the quality of play a lot of times gets pushed to the side or discredited because of maybe the media's, agenda or narrative as it relates to that. But for us, man, week in and week out, we have to be ready to play. And you see some of the best skill guys in the country, in my opinion. The quality of play in the trenches has really, really improved in the ACC. And then just the quality of coaching, just the matchups that you have to go against week in and week out. I think every year we tallied up and we'll play, from an offensive standpoint, we'll compete against probably more than half of the defenses will be top 30 defenses in the country. So I think a lot of the times those kind of stats are not pushed because it doesn't feed into the agenda or the narrative. But we just focus on what we can control. And at the end of the day, we know that playing our schedule is what prepares us to be ready to compete in the postseason. And our success has been attributed to that.
Tony, y'all play Miami.
Okay,
and
Tony,
North
I have a
Carolina?
question.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Coach. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. I'll yield to you. Go right
Tony,
ahead.
y'all play Miami and North Carolina this year?
Not North Carolina, but we got Miami. So we got Miami, we got Pitt, we got Virginia Tech from the other side, and then Notre Dame.
So y'all play Miami where?
But we play Miami at home after Virginia. So we're off this week, and then so in 2 weeks.
Okay, that's a good thing because I really was impressed with them the other day. I thought they were the most improved team I've seen in a while.
Right, they've done a really good job. They've always been really, really stout, on defense, and I think that now for what they're doing offensively with Rhett Lashley, got a ton of respect from him. He kind of comes from the same tree, as I do with the connection to Gus Malzahn, Chad Morris, and all of that. So he's also gone and got some other elements to his game, and he's got that quarterback that transferred in from Houston.
Yeah,
so, they're going to be a good challenge. But in Virginia, same way. Virginia, we're playing Virginia, which is a repeat of the ACC championship last year. So
right.
Virginia, so it's 10 all-in games.
Yeah, I hadn't seen them. I just saw Miami the other night. They were fresh in my mind. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else?
Tony, one question. I have, Tony. We know a lot about Trevor Lawrence. Can you tell us a little bit about number 5? I can't pronounce his name, where he's from, and a little bit about him. Right.
So DJ Uiagalelei, he's from California. He went to Bosco High School there in LA. And he's a guy that kind of sought us out. Typically, our footprint doesn't expand that far. We typically start within a 5-hour radius, and then we'll expand nationally if there's a connection. But, he was one of the top-rated guys, and he reached out to us, and we said, hey, if you're serious about it, then we want to see you on our campus. And he found a way and flew out here a couple times, came during camp, and he's committed early in the process and was solid ever since. But, his dad is Samoan. Okay, his mom is African American, but he's just an awesome kid. I think what makes Trevor special and what made Deshaun special and those guys that compete at such a high level is just their character. And he's a young man of faith. He's a hard worker. I swear every night he's walking with me out the building. So he's always in here putting in extra work. Again, coming from Bosco's program at a very, very, very strong foundation. Again, I think at one point in time, their team was ranked number 1 high school team in the country. They play in a very, very competitive league out there. He's a great baseball player too. He's a 95-mile-an-hour pitcher in baseball, but gave baseball up to pursue his aspirations in football. But the biggest thing that I think that make him special is obviously he's got huge arm talent. I never thought that you would say, okay, there's a guy out there that okay, Trevor's arm is special. We know Trevor's arm is special, but this young man here, he's got a cannon of an arm. So I never thought I would say that. So he definitely has that. But more importantly, he just has that leadership demeanor about himself. Is quiet off the field, but talks very loud on the field when he needs to. And then he puts in the work. And the greatest thing about him is he didn't come in with the mindset of saying, hey, I'm DJ. I'm supposed to walk in right behind Trevor. He went to work and he understood that he would have to compete with Tyson to see who was going to be that backup quarterback. So just an awesome young man to start with and an unbelievable talent.
Plus, I'm sure he can read, write, draw, and trace, can he?
Well, he has some
Can he
practice with that
read, write,
last
draw,
name.
and trace? He's pretty
He can do
smart.
all that. He probably had to spend a little bit
Oh, okay.
of school with all them letters in that last name.
Yeah, well, I want to tell you one on your former head coach, buddy.
Okay.
Too. He played for me back in '73, way back there. I used to get on him about being in shape. He said, Coach, look at my figure. He said, I'm in shape. Look at my figure. I said, yeah, a circle is a figure. So I had to stay on your head coach at all. And he never missed curfew, though. He never missed curfew. Okay. Thank you, buddy. And Tony, thank you. A great speech. And now we're going to bring up our president of the Orangeburg Touchdown Club, Rob Hibbets.
Thank you, Coach. And Coach Elliott, we appreciate you joining us today. From what I've seen, your success is just going and going. And congratulations on all you've accomplished, and appreciate you joining us today, and the best of luck going forward.
Thank you, sir.
Coach Buddy, who's our speaker for next week? Who you rounded up? For next
Ted Cruz, the Vice President for Communications for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds great.
And
Again,
a Colorado State grad.
Again, I'd like to congratulate Ashante and Bates on their scholarships, and we know they'll be successful. And also Noah and Zach for their performances. We're really sorry that we can't meet and get the parents and the coaches in there to join in this and all their accomplishments, but someday later we may be able to. Moving on to the pick'em contest, it was very tightly run last week with Austin Cook winning. He picked the game against Duke and Boston College and picked Boston College and won. If you can see the teams, I'm going to put them up. See if you can see them. You probably can't. So let me read the games out to you, and next week they'll be online. I'm going to read the games out to you slowly. First game is Kentucky against Auburn. You pick the winner. Kentucky against Auburn. Second game is Louisville against Pittsburgh. Pick the winner. Louisville against Pittsburgh. The next game is Duke versus Virginia. Pick the winner of Duke and Virginia. The next game is South Florida versus Florida Atlantic. South Florida against Florida Atlantic. Pick the winner. The last game is Tennessee.
That game has been canceled, been postponed.
Which one? South Florida?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Virginia.
We'll have the last game, then we'll have 4 games.
Yeah.
Tennessee versus South Carolina. Tennessee versus South Carolina. And you give us the total, the winner and the total points of that game. And we'll have the Chestnut Grill Pick'em contest winner for a $25 gift certificate. I want to thank Coach Elliott again. Appreciate his appearance, and hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy the football, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you very much.
Okay, that ends our program, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you again, Coach Elliott.
Great job, man. Super job. We appreciate you. That was
Appreciate you, Coach.
fantastic.
Great